Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I have a very special guest. But first, let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? Who will they celebrating? Who will they celebrating night? Yes, the whole world is celebrating. And I am your host, Tommy Throwback Kovac. And first, I'd like to give a shout out to Brink Stevens. 2 days ago was her birthday. Happy birthday to one of the great scream queens of all time, Brink Stevens. And my guest today is also celebrating her birthday this week, Lynne Griffin, all the way from Canada. You may remember her from such films as Black Christmas, Curtains, and of course that immortal classic starring the Mackenzie brothers, Strange Brew. And so I will be calling Lynne Griffin right now, and we will be talking about her illustrious career.
Hello.
Lynne?
Tommy.
Yes, we are live.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, I am so great. I'm so glad we finally get to do this.
I know. Busy lives, crazy schedules.
Absolutely. How was your birthday this week?
It was pretty good. It was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say I don't feel that old in my soul. So it's a bit of a shock to see it on, kind of on the paper and as the old age pension things start to come in the mail. Oh my God, you go, no, it can't be possible.
Oh, yeah. I'm hitting a milestone myself next year. I'll be 35.
Oh, you baby. That's no milestone. Come on.
Well, the official age, anything that has a 0 or a 5 at the end of it.
Well, that's true. Although for all those, wasn't it all those rock stars in Jesus, it was 33.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
So you passed that one safely.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm such...
So it's 27? What's 33 then? Just Jesus. Okay. So 27 was Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and
Yep.
Jim Morrison. Okay, so okay, you're good. You're good.
Awesome.
Anyway, I think 40 is a breeze. 50 was not so much fun. But anyway, you got miles to go before you sleep.
Yeah. Well, I'm a huge fan of you and your husband, Sean Sullivan.
Oh, that was him giving me all the information as to who the rock stars were and correcting me on my date of 27 as opposed to 33.
Well, he'll be happy to know that to this day, I still quote the line that Leslie Jordan said to him in Ski Patrol. Son, has anybody ever told you you're a couple sandwiches short of a picnic?
Son, did I ever tell you were a couple of sandwiches short of a picnic? Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Love that line.
Oh, yeah. And he still is.
Well, Suicide is one of the best characters of all time. Yeah. So, your first, real horror film was Black Christmas.
Yes.
One of the great classic horror films, and your death scene has become so iconic. with that cellophane plastic over your head and your eyes,
the dry cleaning bag,
and your eyes and mouth open. Like, how did you get that role?
I think, one of the things that I remember is saying that I was a good swimmer, so I could hold my breath for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that helped. I played a lot of victims in my youth of people dying in kind of odd ways, or jumping off of buildings, committing suicide. I don't know why. I just think I kind of had that let's kill the ingenue look. But I just auditioned for it, and I think because there wasn't a lot of text, I had a lovely conversation with Bob Clark, who was a lovely director, and I got very lucky to get the part. Also had my first screen kiss, so it was all good.
Yeah, I mean, you got to work with Bob Clark, who later became so prominent with Porky's and Christmas Story and stuff.
Right.
I've interviewed a couple of people who've worked with him, and they say he had kind of a father-like quality to him. Did you find that yourself?
Yes, I would say a very jolly soul. Really enjoyed what he was doing, and that kind of ease of someone who really is quite genius at what they do. He made everybody extremely relaxed and comfortable, and made us feel like family. And even though the part that I had to play for once we got up into the attic was kind of uncomfortable, he made it really fun.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I guess when we were filming that scene, and I've been kind of under the plastic for quite a while, and at one point he said, "Okay, let's break for lunch," and he said, "Not you, you're dead." So he had a joyful way of working and made it very funny for someone who was making actually quite a provocative horror film, very psychologically scary. Mm-hmm. He had a very fun streak to him. Well, as you can see by the other Christmas movie he made, A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
And Porky's.
Did you get to see Andrea Martin be funny on the set?
Well, Andrea Martin is funny always. We worked together several times since then, and she was just always funny, but not like the kind of comedians that are always on. Those kind of people that you go, "Oh my God, do they have an off switch?" They're always funny, because she's actually quite sweet, philosophical, serious. I think she can be a very serious actress as well as extremely funny. I think one of the things that makes her so great is how authentic she is.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a stand-up comedian myself, and I have an on and off switch. I have an on and off switch myself.
Okay. But some people just don't have any off switches. I've found that you just go, "Oh my goodness, they're always." That's not entirely true, because I'm thinking about when I worked on Strange Brew with Dave Thomas and Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
They were really funny together when they were directing it, but they were very thoughtful people. You got to be smart to be funny.
Absolutely. Yeah, certain comedians, they just keep going. Like Robin Williams certainly did.
Oh, yeah. That I think he was from definitely another planet.
Yeah.
That mind worked so fast. Sometimes it was going faster than I was able to keep up with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah, they were going, "Where is he going? This crazy stream of consciousness."
Yeah.
But again, when you did dramatic roles, terrific.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's some of the best comedians are very good dramatic actors as well.
Yeah,
And yeah, Black Christmas has such a great cast: Margot Kidder and
yep.
Olivia Hussey, Kurt D'Elia, John Saxon, Doug McGrath, Art Hindle. I mean, that's a cast you can't find nowadays.
And don't forget Marion Waldman, who played the house mother.
Mm-hmm.
She was pretty funny, I thought.
Yeah, she is pretty funny.
Yeah.
And
not too long ago, we had I think that we were maybe at a fan expo. We actually had nearly everybody. We didn't have Margot or Olivia, but John Saxon was there, and Art and Doug. So, I have kept in contact with some of these people.
Oh, that's
definitely
great.
Art. Art and I always do the rounds of the conventions.
Mm-hmm.
We always share a table.
Oh, that's great. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the older brother in Porky's.
Right.
You know.
He's a sweetheart.
Did you see the remake of Black Christmas?
No, and I tell you why. Like, a lot of people told me to avoid it.
I can tell you too. Yeah.
Okay. So, even though, my curiosity is piqued, I was going, we always thought it would be a really interesting idea to do, not necessarily a remake, but to try and bring all those women together again as older women fighting for a role.
Yeah.
I'm actually talking about curtains now, aren't I?
Yeah.
But doing it now if they did it would be a remake, wouldn't it? I want to play Marion Waldman's part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I assume that you have seen it.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible.
Oh dear, that's so that's sad to hear. But sometimes when you've got something that I feel that way a lot about remakes, and certainly American remakes of European films and things like that. That you go, why did they bother? They like the original. It's fantastic. And they kind of water it down. And from what I hear about the remake of Black Christmas, I don't even know that it bore all that much resemblance to the original.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
New era, new technology, all that stuff. It just wasn't great.
Well, yeah, I get it, but having someone breathing down your cell phone is quite as bad as having the house phone keep ringing. Mm-hmm. And then you go, he's in the house. Well, of course he's in the house. He has a cell phone.
Yeah.
Right? Never thought about that, but yeah. Come on. Everybody has a cell phone. So look around. It could be any one of you could be Billy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you did probably my favorite role that you've ever done, which is curtains.
Oh, Patty.
Yes, I love this character because being a stand-up comedian myself, I don't think I have the ability to be offended by any joke. And you are great. You are great at telling dirty jokes, Lynn.
Actually, I'm really not. I'm the worst.
Really?
I've gotten up in front of people and tried to tell one and really bombed. But I was never and probably never will be a stand-up comic because it scared me so much. Mm-hmm. And at the time when I was shooting curtains, I'd actually be working at, doing Shakespeare plays at Stratford, Ontario. I was like a very serious, dramatic actress. So
yeah.
Getting up in front of, because when we shot that scene, we were actually at like a famous comedy club in Toronto called Yuck Yucks.
Yep.
And we had, they said, okay, we're going to work out some kind of stand-up act, and you're going to get up and you're actually going to do it in front of this live audience. And I was like, oh my God. I was so frightened. But I mean, I think as you get older, you get kind of funnier, I guess, because now I wouldn't probably be as frightened of doing it. But back then, it was like completely foreign to me.
Well, I think what I think makes you so convincing in that role is that you've always had this adorable yet animated face, and I think that punctuates the jokes very nicely.
That's a very lovely compliment. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Did you see young Jim Carrey at Yuck Yucks?
I did actually, yeah. I mean, and you know, he sort of. It was funny because I knew him back then, but I made a movie called Santa Baby with Jenny McCarthy, and at that time, she was dating Jim.
Yeah.
So he just like we were in the middle of nowhere shooting in this, you know, snowy cabin somewhere in Calgary, Alberta, and he kind of walked down this like long path of pine trees with we had actually reindeer out there and everything because we were doing this Christmas movie, and he showed up, and it was just so lovely to see. Very, very uneffacing, very shy. I mean, he didn't really want to, you know, grandstand at all when he walked onto the set. But my favorite moment was when we were breaking for the weekend, and they had decided that they were going to go and have like a romantic weekend at the Banff Springs Hotel.
Yeah.
And off they wandered down this, and it was all lit with Christmas lights and stuff, and they wandered down this snowy pathway hand in hand, and he was just he's a lovely guy. He's a lovely guy. You know, for all his craziness that you go. And now, have you seen the thing where he's now like a visual artist? Have you seen that clip of him doing his thing?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah. I mean, so again, there's somebody with great depth.
Absolutely, yeah. Some of the best comedians are very shy off stage. I certainly can be.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it? I guess we all are really as actors that you go. The idea of doing a role, there is something that you get to hide behind. I mean, you have the lines already written for you, and even as a stand-up, I would assume you have a certain persona that you put on that then allows you to be free, even though, like, underneath. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like the shyest kid in class. So I guess it's you know, some kind of like invisibility cloak or something that you have that you can hide behind, and then really perform because you're being somebody else.
Oh yeah, stand up is like acting in many ways. It's a craft. Yeah. It's a craft. You know.
Yeah, but I would think it's pretty. Well, I mean, you're very, very vulnerable. Right? It's like you're there, you're hoping they're going to laugh for you, and if they don't, or if they, you know, heckle you, I would imagine that's really kind of soul crushing.
It is. But you have after a while, after you've gotten used to it and you've gotten more passionate about it, you know, you have to kind of like it, you know, in order to succeed.
It feels so good when you stop, right?
Yeah. Sure does.
When it's over, oh man, I nailed it. God, and I can go home and cry and, you know, bite my pillow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite scene in Curtains is when you're at the gas station and the boy is hitting on you.
Yeah.
And you say, I like older guys, 14 or 15. That's so wrong.
I know. I mean, it's great back in the day, you know, when we think of what some of the, well, even with Black Christmas, too, you go, the fact that there's the whole storyline about Olivia and Keir and her deciding to have an abortion. Like, we're talking, like, that was huge back then to actually even bring that up. And certainly some of the and some of the stuff in curtains, you're like, they were very they were much more risky. But now we kind of do it by just sawing somebody in half, right?
Right.
And it's much more of a visual thing in film. I mean, in all films, because even in all the blockbuster things, it's like how much CGI and fabulous explosions and blow-ups and planes crashing and stuff can we do? But back then, there was kind of a very subtle sort of, where you're just kind of skimming under the sensors and what you could get away with. I mean, because curtains, had some pretty raunchy stuff in it.
Yeah.
even Patty with that puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I see that now and I go, oh my God, I actually did that. Wow. I actually tried with a puppet. Oh my God.
And didn't you write a lot of your jokes for this?
I did. My famous in and out and 5 minute whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Minutes, 5 minutes. Yeah. I did. We were allowed. Well, they did allow me great freedom to sort of come up with stuff, but that one was pretty good. Of course, nowadays that joke wouldn't work at all, right?
Yeah, it's considered kind of hacky.
We killed that joke in the digital age. Yeah.
I love that one line. The casting tub is like the casting couch, but wetter.
Yes. Oh my God. And back in the days, she says, old washed up actors. So, I actually did encounter the casting couch a couple of times. It wasn't actually a couch. It was more like, I'm going to chase you. Well, one was I'm going to chase you around my, hotel suite. And the other one was actually under the casting desk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But
yeah, that's a joke that probably doesn't stand the test of time either. Oh well.
I have never met an actress who gave in to the casting couch.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I mean, I'm not sure. I certainly never did, but I'm assuming just from some of the roles that I didn't get back then that maybe somebody did.
Yeah. And it's sad if they did.
I mean, the funny thing is the just pure chutzpah and audacity to think as, I mean, one of them, in my case, was a producer, one of them was the director. But just think that you'd actually think that you're going to get the part because of that.
Yeah.
It just shows how, kind of, hello, little girl, you're being kind of stupid here. And also, I mean, one of them, the casting director, was sitting right outside in her office.
Mm-hmm.
One where he well, first of all, he said, I don't know what the role was, but he wanted me to lie on the floor. And I thought, well, okay, you kind of go, okay, cool. But then when it was like, I'm coming down on the floor too, and I'm kind of trying to now scuttle under the desk and hide, you go, I mean, who would be gullible enough to believe that you would actually be able to get a part that way?
Exactly. Oh my God.
It's kind of like, because then they, so much about this business is trying to have respect for one another, respect for one another's talent, and that doesn't show a whole lot of respect.
Nope.
It's an interesting conversation we're having.
Yes.
Well, it is. It's unusual.
I love unusual conversations. They're the best. Yeah, what I love about the movie is that it's a great social commentary into the psyche of an actor's mind.
Right. Oh, right. Now, admittedly, every single time you audition, it's kind of like that. You walk in, and it's funny, I was watching a little bit of La La Land was on cable yesterday, And I was thinking there's an audition scene where she has to go in and she's auditioning, and then they interrupt her audition, right? And not only that, the guy has bumped into her and spilled coffee all over her white shirt. So she's, in the middle of doing, I think she's on the phone, Emma Stone is on the phone. And then she comes out of the audition after they've interrupted her and says, yeah, thanks, I think that's all we need to see. And she walks down this hallway, and there are, maybe 12 to 15 other women all wearing white shirts. So I go, yeah, it's still kind of like that of, all these actresses up for the same part. And sometimes now it's like 3 or 4 lines you're auditioning for. Hello, Mr. Smith, can I get you a coffee? I'm going to lunch now. And you go out there and we laugh because it's all the same people that I've been auditioning with all my life. And I look around at them and we're all sitting there, all the same faces. And I go, maybe we should just flip a coin on this one. Whoever has the biggest, line of credit to pay off, let's make sure they get this job this time. Because it's really funny to me that when there's just a few lines or the part is fairly straightforward, that they feel they see so many different people. My idea of it would be, eliminate some of that competition in order to make it easier for you to make a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got to choose between, say, 3 different entrees on a menu,
right,
or, you go into some crazy place like, I don't know what, Kelsey's or whatever, and the menu is so enormous that you go, I just don't know what I want. I can't decide.
Right.
Right? So, but if it's like you can have a hamburger, you can have a chicken thing, or you can have a fish thing, it makes it easier to decide.
Right. I mean, every actor takes a look at the script and says, I either know this character or I don't, and if I do know this character, I want to play it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. I mean, I know definitely there's sometimes you'll get a script and you'll go, yeah, this one fits. This one I can really fit. And then you'll get another one that you go, not such a good fit. Or you can think of somebody who is probably going to be at that audition who's a better fit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you always have to play the same things, because, even what fits you can be a whole myriad of things. But you just know when you get, the sides, if it's something that you're going to be able to really show them your stuff and really give a good, authentic audition. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you know that you're going in there and trying to fake somebody you're not.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I know that your mother has a role in the movie.
In curtains? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never tell anybody who it is because they always guess the wrong one, too. It was so funny when we were doing the commentary, Leslie Donaldson and I got together and did the commentary when we were sitting and watching the movie in a screening room in New York. And neither of us had seen the movie in a while. And we thought that was kind of cool. Let's go in fairly clean slate.
Yeah.
And it got to that moment, and I let out this kind of squeal because I went, "Oh my God! I completely forgot my mother was in the movie," and it was quite a surprise for me. Although my mother did, because I remember she finagled her way into a part in a miniseries that I did as well called "I'll Take Manhattan."
Uh-huh.
She managed to get herself a part in that as well. But funny, yeah. I mean, I was actually delightfully reminded. I mean, my mom's been gone for 20 odd years now. So when seeing it again and seeing her cute little crazy face, and now it's even funnier when I look at myself on film because I look pretty much exactly the same as her. So that's a clue, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is. You have to guess.
Well, my guess is the crazy lady who's all tickle tickle.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's not her.
Ah.
That's the guess that everybody makes, because that lady really does look like she could be my mom.
Oh God.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
My,
I don't know. Check out the credits very carefully.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to your interview on Python's Paradise, and I was like, God, I wonder what character she is.
I know. But yeah, my mom, I didn't fall far from the tree, the crazy tree. I mean, yeah, my mom was an actress, but for most of her career, she was a talent agent, and she actually represented me.
Mm-hmm.
She had her own talent agency in Toronto, which in fact my sister still to this day runs. My sister took it over. It's called KG Talent.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's name was Kay Griffin, and my sister's name is Kathy Gate. Mm-hmm. So it still exists, and my sister still runs it, and she still represents me.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Yeah, my mom is my manager.
Sorry, what?
My mom is my manager.
Oh, is that ever great? That's cool.
Yeah.
And in the day, my mom was Mike Myers' manager.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
And he had, because he has a Scottish mom that was very much like my mom. My mom was actually, Scottish as well.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those jokes that he tells, and when he does that Scottish accent, I go, he ripped that off from his mom and my mom.
He probably did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then the first time I remember seeing you was in Strange Brew, which is one of my favorite comedies of all time.
Right.
I was like 5 or 6 when I first saw this movie. I saw it like late at night on TNT. And
my goodness.
And I remember sitting there thinking to myself, why isn't Rick Moranis wearing glasses? Yeah.
Okay.
How did you get this role?
I just had an audition. I think the reason that I got the role is because I really did look quite a bit like Dave Thomas's wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm trying to remember. I mean, I didn't even do a screen test or anything. I just read for the one. But I thought that was, sometimes it's really, even the casting director will say, it's really good, because you look a lot like their wife or their girlfriend or whatever. You kind of have that same sort of personality. Mm-hmm. But there was one where a different one that I went in on, and they said, I don't think you're going to do very well on this because you look exactly like the wife. It was the ex-wife.
Oh.
So it's not always good to remind the people you're auditioning for of their wife.
Yeah.
Particularly if they've had a rather acrimonious divorce. Not such a good thing. But yes, and I didn't get that part, but I kind of knew when I walked in that they said, you look a lot like his ex-wife. That's probably not going to do you very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like working with Dave Thomas and Rick Moranis?
Oh, they were a blast. It was so much fun. I mean, as I said, they were actually quite, thoughtful and deliberate and serious. And, as we said, comedy is not an easy thing to do. But and of course for me, I'm basically playing their straight man. Yeah. So the hardest part for me was not to crack up during the takes when they were doing their thing, and I was supposed to just be sort of watching them curiously. I was trying most of the time, very hard not to corpse, not to break up while they were doing their thing, and I was supposed to be straight, trying to just forward the cloth and say your lines and look pretty. But I mean, some of the stuff, and because they would be improvising and ad-libbing some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And even still, you're lying, you're looking at into Rick Moranis' face, and he's saying, "If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you."
Yeah.
I mean, how did you not kind of, like, I'm sure there were a lot of outtakes of me cracking up.
Oh, God, I'd love to see them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are. I mean, my God. Because there were a lot. I mean, I remember, too, when we were in the huge vat in the beer. And I think he was the one who said, "Does it seem like it's getting warmer in here?"
Yeah, I love that.
And that I think was totally improv. I don't think that was a written line. Because I remember thinking how funny that was, because it took you like that little bit of a second to kind of go, what? To click and go, oh, no. Now I know what he means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just that little pause before you really know what the joke is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and him have some really good exchanges. I like you're not gonna sue me for whiplash, right? Get out! Or what do you say? Oh, hurry! Yeah. I love that.
And my other favorite one was, well, there's a lot of favorite things about that film, but when I actually, they shot it in a way that it looks like I actually pick him up and carry him. And I think, I don't know whether Dave was like, I don't know who it was, somebody was underneath anyway holding him up. But we were cracking up over that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And actually, for me, an incredible moment was to be carried by Max von Sydow. Max, Uncle Max, holy God,
Yeah.
Guy who was in all those Bergman films. What an incredible, and the fact that how did they even get him to do it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a mystery.
They cast him.
Yeah, that's such a mystery to me. I mean, he's like one of the greats, and he's still alive and kicking.
I know. But, I mean, obviously it somehow tickled his funny bone to be in that movie, because he really enjoyed himself. I mean, he was just a delight to be around, and was kind of funny and liked to tell stories. And, I mean, he didn't kind of just stay off by himself or do any of that. I mean, he was really just like right in there, kind of having a blast doing that.
Yeah.
So good. Funny teeth, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love at the towards the end of the movie, like you say to Rosie, "Oh, Rosie, let's get married," and you two haven't even been on a date yet.
Yeah, I know. It was delightful. It was, I kind of think it's interesting because it was kind of at this time of year that we were filming it in October. Oh, how many years ago was that? Oh, no, don't even think about it. But yeah, it's always because it makes me think of this time of year because it's Oktoberfest.
Yeah, Oktoberfest.
Dog. The skunk dog. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Funny memories of that, yeah. Funny memories. And the funny thing is, I didn't drive at the time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first scenes I had to do was driving in, driving through that. And they were going, you don't drive? I go, no. They're like, oh, God. I go, but I can do it. I'll just, put me in the car, show me, I know how to do it. I just don't have a driver's license. I don't ask me why. I think as I got my boyfriends to drive me everywhere, and so I never bothered to learn to drive until much later after that.
I've never driven.
No, well, but
no.
I guess. And you live in California?
Yeah. Well, we have really good public transportation.
Oh, okay. See, because when I moved to California, I mean, it was clear I had to learn to drive. I took one of those nervous drivers courses in California, the California Driving Institute, where they pick you up and they make you go on the freeway right away.
Yeah.
But I knew when I moved to California, boy, I had to learn to drive or I would be stuck there. Because in LA, not so much public transport, and not if you're trying to get out to 20th Century Fox or something, you've got to be able to drive. You can't get on a bus. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I had an accident a couple of years ago, getting hit on the highway while me and my now ex friend was drunk, and that's a good enough reason not to drive now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, one of the reasons I didn't learn to drive is because I had a boyfriend when I was about 16 teaching me how to drive, and we actually had an accident because I was at a stoplight and trying to make a left-hand turn, and when the light turned yellow, I kind of hesitated. And then he said, go, you're supposed to go now. So then I entered, and, the light was probably just about to turn red, and someone ran the light the other way and hit, and he was hit and injured.
Oh, my
Because
God.
I was driving, but he was in the passenger seat, so he was injured. And, of course, the car was injured. So, yeah, you just have to have one of those, although I've had several of those since then. And I've given kind of driving a little kind of, I'm just not going to drive for a while. And then you got to go, oh, come on, I have to. So, but yeah, you just have to have a couple of close calls and you're like, that's enough for me.
Yeah, I mean,
there are other ways of moving your body around.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in a coma for 30 days.
Oh, you were? That's awful.
Yeah, I made it through, though. I don't know how I did it, but
my God.
I was protected by God.
And how about your drunk friend?
He broke his arm and he broke his pelvis, but
Jesus.
I got the worst of the injuries.
Jeez, my God.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
Oh my goodness! Wow, thank God you survived, or we wouldn't be talking today.
Absolutely. I mean, I've just been grateful and fortunate every day since. I can't believe it's been.
Did you have a head injury?
No, thank God I didn't.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe it's been 2 years. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Congratulations for surviving.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. No, it's hugely traumatic.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And even though you weren't driving, I mean, most of my accidents, I was driving, not that I was necessarily at fault. Well, in fact, I wasn't at fault in two of them, but, you still go, it's so, I mean, I was hit once when the car was towed, and I was hit, and I was in a little Toyota Echo, that literally, spun around into the oncoming traffic and ended up on the sidewalk.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
But fortunately, yeah, I walked away from it. The car was towed.
Where was that?
I said I walked away from it, and I didn't have any injury, but I mean, it really did traumatize me that that my car was totaled.
No, I mean, where was that at? Was that in Canada?
Yeah, that was in Toronto. Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
And I actually, the funny thing was, I was not at my car. My vehicle was not moving when it happened. So even stranger, because I was actually trying to make again another left-hand turn, and this guy in his very fast BMW passed me on the driver's side of a two-lane road. He passed me not on the on the passenger side, but he tried to pass me on the driver's side. So as I just literally made that little bit of a turn to make the left-hand turn, he clipped me, which is what spun the little car around.
Wow.
But why was he trying to pass me? I'm going, about 60 miles an hour.
That's like something right out of an action movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was. I didn't even know. You don't even really realize until I'm sort of, you kind of click back into kind of a consciousness, and you're going, I'm up on the sidewalk in front of the art store I was trying to get into, facing the wrong direction, and just going, what just happened?
Yep. It's like the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm not too much of a scaredy cat, but that one really scared me.
Yeah. Now, How did you get to play a waitress in The Heavenly Kid?
My husband at the time
Mm-hmm.
was shooting it. Was the DP, the director of photography. So not my husband now.
Uh-huh.
My husband for 29 years. But my previous husband was shooting it. His name was Stephen Poster.
Mm-hmm.
He actually shot Strange Brew as well.
Wow.
And Heavenly Kid was what I was Taft Hart lead on, which is when you do your very first gig under Screen Actors Guild.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to get my Screen Actors Guild card when I moved to Los Angeles, and then that's how I ended up. That's how I ended up doing that one. God, yeah. I haven't seen that in a million years, but yeah.
Well, I talked to Nancy Vallon a couple months ago on here.
Right.
And I let her know, this is a very important movie for me because when I was a kid, we watched this movie a lot, and my uncle, who's my father's brother, was my mom's best friend in high school, and he died in a motorcycle accident about 5 years before I was born.
Oh.
And she used to look at the yearbooks like Jane Kasmerick does in the movie.
Right.
And when I had my accident 2 years ago, my mom felt his presence in her car, letting her know that I was going to be all right.
Oh, my God. So this accident that you're talking about was only 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Holy God, Tommy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, well, I can believe that. I mean, I've lost both my mom and my dad, and every now and then, you kind of think that there's some kind of guardian angel or somebody guiding you.
Exactly.
You know, so I'm not surprised that that you could feel that or sense that.
Mm-hmm.
She did. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. Were you broken up at all? Like, or you just were in a coma? But how badly were you injured? I'm sorry, I don't mean to pry.
Oh, you can ask me anything. I'm an open book.
Okay.
Let's see. I had a mild heart attack. They had to put a stent in my heart. I broke my ribs. I broke a couple teeth. My hand was fractured, and a couple other things I can't even think of right now.
Right.
Allegedly, I had 12 surgeries.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh. And how old are you now?
I'm 34.
34, right. You were just saying you were about to turn 35, right? Wow.
I was 31 and a half, yeah.
Whoa. That's pretty life-changing.
Yeah, it was a positive experience for the fact that, I quit drinking and I'm pursuing show business now. I wasn't for a while.
Right.
And it really changed everything for me for the better.
Isn't that interesting? A lot of people say that,
Mm-hmm.
They have these kind of experiences and you're like, yeah. Because it does really make you aware of your own mortality. And you were given a second chance.
Absolutely. I'm just grateful every day it was scary. I mean, I the first couple of weeks I was under so much anesthesia.
Yeah.
For my broken leg especially, and I was just seeing crazy things that were not there. I was having lots of weird bad dreams, and it was just endless. It was terrible.
My God. And obviously must have taken you quite a time to recuperate.
Yeah.
Get yourself back up on your feet.
Long time, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was back.
Rehab?
Yeah, I did physical therapy and all that. And rehab in the hospital. I was back on stage though about 2 months after I got out of the hospital. I was very fragile, and I lost like 100 and something pounds while I was in the hospital, but I did it.
Bravo.
Yeah.
This is quite a conversation, quite a story.
Oh, I don't mind sharing it with the world, though.
Well, I'm really glad we finally got to talk to one another and get to know each other. I mean, this is definitely worth it, and it puts things in perspective. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it definitely does.
I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask
Yeah, go ahead.
real quick. You were on an episode of Picket Fences.
Yes, yeah.
It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what was that like?
God, I'm trying to remember. Did I remember? What do I remember about it? I'll scare it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got that job because I could cry on you.
Nice.
That one that I don't know. I think I don't know. But sometimes I just get jobs because I can cry on you.
I can cry on cue.
Yeah, I can still do it. I don't remember. I don't even. I mean, it's been so long since I've actually seen what. Yeah, I don't even remember what really the storyline of what I was playing. I kind of because
I don't even remember the episode, but I saw it on your IMDb. I wanted to ask because I love that show.
Oh yeah, and I did also at that. They did an NYPD Blue as well. I remember. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was good times in LA. Getting on to episodic, which was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you that I just speaking of like crazy death scenes,
Mm-hmm.
I just shot it's not really a remake, but it's a imagining of
Reboot.
a movie that I just shot called Fahrenheit 451, which is
Oh yeah.
on the
Ray Bradbury.
by Ray Bradbury.
Yeah.
So I just shot that with Michael Shannon and Michael B. Jordan, and I'm playing the woman who stockpiles all the books, and when they finally find her and break into her house, she decides to ignore their warnings, and she actually, I was set on fire. So when they burn all my books, I come and stand in the middle of them, and I set them all on fire. So I was surrounded by, this is yet one of my upcoming extraordinary death scenes. So I just shot that last month.
Nice. I
think it's HBO. It'll be on HBO. And
cool.
So it's Fahrenheit 451. I don't know if you are aware of that book, or it's a very famous book, and it was made into a movie in like the 60s, but
yeah,
it's got a really interesting reimagining of the book, kind of in the digital age. But I really had a fabulous time doing it, just because I'm kind of cool with those kind of stunts. But I mean, I literally was standing in this enormous pile of books, and the flames were surrounding me like about 3 feet away. Of course, then they took me out and put the stunt woman in for when she totally goes up in flames. But it was absolutely astonishing to watch this stunt person do this, where they literally, she just, her entire body was on fire.
Wow. And
then they run in and they get the fire extinguishers. But yeah, like one take, that's all they can do with her in one take.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, I'd never seen the original one, but I know about it. I heard it's actually on one of Martin Scorsese's like favorite movies of all time list.
Yeah. Well, it's a fascinating story, and it works so well now. I mean, it's interesting, to think that it translates so well to this very moment in time. And because what they're trying to do, obviously, is these people that are trying to maintain the literary word or trying to memorize it all. And here we are now in an age where you can digitalize it all, right?
Right.
So a way of saving all these great books. But I was actually quite heartbreaking to stand there in the middle of all these, because they got thousands of books. avid reader, and I still go to the library. I love books. I was dragged kicking and screaming into the digital age because my father was a professional photographer as well.
Uh-huh.
And so to have digital photography, I went, no, my dad had a dark room in our basement of our family home and won the Canadian Photographer of the Year Award in 1966. So for me to see, the actual process of developing your own prints and making your own photographs and seeing that it had all become digital the same way that I did when I saw, the first Kindle or Kobo, I went, no, you can't do that. You can't. The sensation of actually holding a real book, and particularly an old book that has that great sort of scent to it when, the pages are kind of yellowed, is so, it was a very kind of meaningful project for me to work on. And, sometimes they're not. Sometimes you're just trying to get a paycheck. But this one was really special for me.
Oh, that's great. I look forward to seeing that. I know HBO's doing remakes. I mean, they just did Westworld.
Right.
Do you get invited to a lot of conventions?
Yeah, I haven't done so many this year, but I'm supposed to do one again, I think, in November. But yeah, I actually love doing them. I love meeting the fans, and I'm very flattered and humbled that particularly Black Christmas has been so honored and revered by like a whole new generation of fans. That's been really inspiring to me. Mm-hmm. And then, when Curtains was released on DVD and Blu-ray, the same thing happened. And so I'm very, I get quite a kick out of going and meeting all these people and just being at these conventions and seeing all these other people that have done horror films, and the fact that so many of them are from sort of a time gone by when, the horror film was really like a psychological thriller as opposed to a slasher movie. Mm-hmm. But you see, all this incredible cross-section of people who have devoted themselves to following these films and supporting them and being these great fans. And I just love the kind of quirkiness and craziness of like just sitting there and meeting all these people. I've really enjoyed doing it, and I'm glad because it was really Facebook that brought that to me. That people were finding me on Facebook and going, you know what, you should come into our convention, and do you want to come and just do a Q&A and sign some autographs. And at first I kind of went, wow, that's like, I know friends of mine that do it.
Yeah.
But it was people finding me on Facebook and just asking me, and then it sort of mushroomed it. So I really enjoy doing it when they ask me, and I hope they keep asking me.
Yeah, I just started going to conventions last year, and I am hooked on them. I just love meeting the people who's been entertaining me since I was a kid, and telling them how much they mean to me. And I've even gotten to become friends with some of them, and they're reading my screenplays and stuff. It's really cool.
That's very cool, isn't it? Yeah, it's like a whole different world. And also because, both Black Christmas and Curtains were, a long time ago in my history, and to be sort of amazed at how well they're received in now with this generation, it's really quite impressive.
Yeah.
And that things like being on the cover of a DVD with a plastic bag over your head becomes iconic. It's like it's kind of makes me giggle, and it tickles me. I'm happy about it. I kind of go, that's so cool. Mm-hmm. That happened to me.
Yeah, I hope I get to meet you at a convention one day.
Yeah, well, tell them, because I come down to Los Angeles, and particularly San Diego. My husband's family lives in San Diego. Mm-hmm. So I'm down in California certainly every Christmas. So if I'm, now you're in Redding, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Reading at the moment. I'm trying to move to Los Angeles.
Well, this Christmas, I will, let's keep in touch. And this Christmas, if I'm down there, which I'm sure I will be, I'm usually down for at least a couple of weeks over Christmas. Let's see if we can kind of hook up somewhere in the great state of California.
Oh, that would be great, Lynn. That would
Yeah.
be great. Yeah, I'll be here in Reading. I know that.
Okay. Well, I mean, as I said, I'm usually down there, at least twice a year. I'm
Mm-hmm.
always go down there at Christmas time because all of Sean's family are there, and one day if you want to talk to Sean, I'm sure he'd be willing.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
I have so many questions for him.
Well, let's just set up another time when you can spend an hour or so talking to Sean.
Great. That would be so awesome.
Yeah.
I can add you as a friend on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. You're
Yeah.
such a sweet lady, Lynn. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Tommy, and I'm so glad. It took a little work to get us together, but you're very special, and I'm very glad that I got to meet you and talk to you today.
Oh, thank you so much. Don't make me cry.
Okay. Just a little bit. Just a little sob. Gas. It's okay. Anyway, so keep in touch, and just shoot us something to let us know that you'll talk to Sean at some point in the near future.
I sure will. And
Okay.
take off, eh?
Yeah, you too, poser.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it. Lynne Griffin. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Lynn. This was one of the most awesome interviews I've ever done, and I sincerely mean that. I mean, I'm very emotional right now. Thank you so much. So if all you totally radical hosers out there want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do so. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and add me as a friend on Facebook to keep in touch with all my totally radical episodes of Splat from the Past. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.